the pledge.
Is flag, please?
Thank you.
Ready, begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Yeah, thank you much. Madam Secretary, if we could have a roll call.
Thank you, Mr. President. Division 6, Audrey Miller.
Here.
Division 5, Robert Paris.
Here.
Division 3, Jay Tremblay.
Here.
Division 2, Keith Dias.
Here.
Division 1, Drew Mercy.
Here.
Division 7, Gary Van Dam.
Here.
Division 4, George Lane.
Here.
General Manager Knutson.
Here.
General Counsel Doug Everts.
Here.
And Holly Hughes present.
Yeah, thank you. We'll go to voluntary public roll call. Is anybody listening in? Would you like to hear who's with us?
Good evening, George. Oh, go ahead.
Kathy McLaren, Palmdale Water District.
Kathy, welcome.
Good evening, George and directors. White Fence 3, Jack Cephas.
Hey, Jack.
Hi.
You missed a time or so, I think. Haven't heard
I
from you.
hope not.
Okay. Okay. Do we have anyone else? Okay, we have public comments. Anybody would like to address the board on items that's not on the agenda? Now's the time to do so. Okay, we'll move down to a board order item, adoption of agenda.
Mr. President, I'll move approval of the agenda.
We have a motion by Director Mercy. We have a second.
I'll second it, Mr. President.
We have a motion and a second. There's no further questions or comments. Well, we need a roll call, do we not? Yeah.
Yes. Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay.
Yes.
Keith Dias.
Yes.
Drew Mercy.
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Motion carried. Move on, the consent, calendar, approved minutes of the regular board meeting of June 23rd. Hope we've had a chance to look at those.
Mr. President, I'll move on 7A 1.1.
We have a motion by Director Miller. Do we have a second?
Mr. President, this Rob, I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. There's no further questions or comments. Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller.
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay.
Yes.
Keith Dias.
Yes.
Drew Mercy.
Yes.
Gary Van Dam.
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Motion carried. Just thinking, driving up to the agency, how things have changed. When we first, it was built, there was a dirt road coming up here. And a lot of the roads in the Antelope Valley, were dirt roads, and the ones that were paved, it wasn't pavement like we know today. It was a desert mix and used native soil and oil and other additives, but those were done for decades here in the Antelope Valley, but you don't see those done anymore. But anyway, they lasted, kept the dust down. Okay, the Finance Committee, Director Dias.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met last Thursday, and the first item we discussed and will be recommending for full board approval tonight is the check register list for the period of July 16th through July 29th. And I will ask General Manager Knutson to make this presentation tonight.
All right. Thank you, Director Dias. Good evening, board members. So if you look, begin on page 11 of your packet is the beginning of the check run for this period. We'll start with item number 1 on the checklist, monthly payment to Department of Water Resources, just over $640,000. That was for moving about 3,150 acre feet through the State Water Project during the month of June. Most of that water was treated here at the Quartz Hill Water Treatment Plant Facility. We're currently paying about $225 per acre foot to move the water. Down at the bottom of the first page, items 18 and 19 are both payments to Calgon Carbon. This is associated with the filter media removal and replacement of the various filters at the Acton Water Treatment Plant. If you remember, the board authorized roughly $500,000 to get that treatment plant to a state where it can run in the event of emergency. Moving on to the next page, item 26. Payment to Sierra Construction and Excavation. This is associated with the West Feeder repairs and condition assessment. A little over $68,000. And that, if you remember, that came in well under budget. I think about $100,000 less than what we budgeted and anticipated for that. So they were very efficient in that repair. Item 27 is our annual membership dues to the State Water Contractors Association, $358,000 and some change. At the Finance Committee, President Lane asked for a 10-year history of this, so we'll review that at the next Finance Committee, just to show how this annual membership dues has changed over the last 10 years.
Didn't that have something to do with workers' comp or something?
No, this is for the State Water Contractors Authority or Association that we're a member of, along with other contractors.
Just, I thought the Corvette Club was kind of expensive, $55. Great.
Item 28 is a progress payment to Water Systems Consulting associated with the Eastside Water Bank expansion feasibility study. And if you remember, that was we have an agreement with San Gorgonio Pass Water Agency, and they're reimbursing 80% of that cost to AVEK for the partnership. And I think those are all the highlights I wanted to mention, but be happy to answer any questions the board may have on the AVEK check run. There are 2 checks associated with the High Desert Water Bank operation and maintenance, both of which will be reimbursed by Metropolitan Water District. And then also on page 16 of the packet is our quarterly director reimbursement summary that covers the months of April, May, and June. If you remember, we just accept and file this to be transparent, to show any costs being reimbursed to directors. And as you can see, we only had a couple of reimbursements associated with the Aqua conference back in May. And that's all I have to report.
Okay, is there any questions or comments?
Mr. President, this Rob, I move approval of Board Order 8A1.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, if we can have a roll call?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, yeah. Motion carried. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And that would conclude the Finance Committee report tonight, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you, Keith. That's about the shortest one you've ever had, I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, you're not off the hook yet. No, High Desert, Water Bank, and you could, you're chairman of that committee. And
Yes, thank you. The High Desert Water Bank Committee met a couple of weeks ago, and the first item we heard was the monthly update for the project. And so I will ask for Assistant General Manager Livesay to make that same presentation to the full board tonight.
All right. Thank you, Director Dias. Good evening, President Lane, members of the board. Pretty typical monthly update. We've got some news to share, and we'll get going. So as far as recharge status at the High Desert Water Bank, we are currently banking for AVEK's benefits. We're banking our water supplies. We're doing about 200 acre feet per day at the site. We started in July. Through the end of July, or through July 28th, when we read the meter, we had banked about 1,026 acre feet in that month, which brought our total recoverable balance to 25,446 acre feet. Since July 28th, we've probably banked about 3,800 acre feet since then at the 200 acre feet per day. So doing pretty good. That should continue here towards the end of August. We'll turn off as we reach our goal for now. Metropolitan's not banking and have no plans to bank for the duration of 2026. Next.
Justin, where you talked about turning off end of August?
Yeah. So we had planned to bank 15,000 acre feet in total for our goals for this year. Half of that will be at High Desert Water Bank and half at West Water Bank. So we'll meet that towards the end of August here.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
That picture that's on there, is that a current picture?
No, that picture is probably from maybe 2024 or something when we were banking a little bit more continuously.
So does it look drier than that right now?
It does, yeah, especially in the northern basins. We're not using those ones at this time.
So where are you putting the water in the front?
It's going into kind of that first basin where we had the grand opening or the ribbon cutting, if you remember that. Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some current pictures at next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, we could do that. Some recent activity. We've had some meetings that have, had some good progress. We had a well equipping and on-site power design workshop with Metropolitan on June 26th. They wanted to review the plans for the well equipping and power design as they brought some members of their engineering team up to speed on the project to complete their review. So part of our contract, they review the design plans and issue us a letter that they concur with the intent of the design and that it all looks good. So they did that. They submitted that letter to us on July 22nd. So from their perspective, we're good to go and get that package out to bid. We also had a water quality discussion with them on July 1st and followed that up with a follow-up discussion on August 6th, just a few days ago, with the entire project team. We provide them with some good information about the recovery well capacity and our abilities to manage the recovery from each of those wells and vary the pump speeds to look at blending or optimizing, I guess I'll say, the nitrate concentrations that are coming out of the well field. So they got that information. They're internally talking with their water quality team about some additional modeling work that they want us to do to inform their water quality team on a kind of an operational strategy for the site. And ultimately, we hope that leads them to a decision of building an arsenic treatment facility and being able to pump back into the California aqueduct as was originally intended for the project. So those discussions are continuing and we're hopeful that we get a decision from them in the next couple of months. We had a quarterly meeting with Southern California Edison to touch base on the progress there on July 27th. We got some, fairly good news from them. We know SCE is relatively slow, but from SCE standards, we're marching along pretty good on this. So their transmission alignment design is about 60% complete. They're targeting March or April of next year to begin construction of their on-site substation, which is good news, not too far away. And then they're ultimately targeting an in-service date where we can take power from them in April or May of 2028, which is actually a month or two ahead of their original target date of June 2028. So that's all looking good. We've got about 2 years of construction for the well equipping and on-site power distribution system, which is yet to go out to bid. So at this point in time, Edison Power will be ready when we are. We're actually going to come in just a little bit behind them. So I don't know, good or bad, but at least we won't be waiting on Edison for power when it's all constructed. So next slide, Holly. So looking at our project budget, everything's continuing to track within the budget that's been established for the project. Kind of in I guess I have a pointer here. So looking, doesn't work too good. But looking here in the middle of on this table, this is our estimate of the remaining contracts. This is what we've already approved as a board, about 106 million. What's remaining is just about 100 million, just under. So if all those come in at what our estimates are, projections, we're gonna be just under 5 million under budget for the project. So we've got about $4.7 million worth of contingencies to play with should anything come in a little over budget. But the big expenditure in the construction category there is going to be the well equipping and on-site electrical package. It's about estimated to be about $82 million. So when we get the bids in for that, that'll be very telling with regards to where we're at budget-wise. If that comes in under budget, obviously we'll be in really good shape. If it comes in a little bit over, we'll have to see where we're at. So there are a lot of contingencies and escalators built into that project estimate. So we're hoping we're right at it or maybe a little bit under. But overall, looking pretty good. Next slide, Holly. So talking about contracts, there's only a few remaining to be issued, and we'll bring those to the board at the appropriate time. But we've got engineering services during construction for the 2 construction packages left, construction management for the well equipping and electrical, and then of course the construction contracts. So 5 contracts remaining there, and then treatment facility, that's to be determined, but we'll have, design services for that in addition to the construction related services there. But yeah, the bottom bullets there, that's just kind of rehash of the previous table, but looking good as far as what we've not committed yet and what our estimates are. So doing okay budget wise, we think. Next slide. These are our active contracts. Everything's looking pretty good from a budget perspective. The bottom 3 rows are highlighted in green. Those are closed out. So you can see those came in. If you look at the far right column, the percentage of work completed is 100 and the percentage of the contract paid there varies. But if you take the sum of the difference between all 3 of those, we're about $450,000 under what we contracted for those 3 specific contracts. So doing pretty good. Consultants are doing a good job of keeping their costs in check and of course those services are billed on a per hour basis. So looking pretty good there. And then just a handful of remaining contracts still underway.
I've got to ask one question. Who keeps track of their time? Consultants.
The consultants keep track of their time.
Yeah.
They're like lawyers.
Well, we do review their invoices very carefully. So if some hours seem out of whack for the work that we know they completed in the time frame, we certainly question that. Next slide. This is a summary of our capital program account balance. Just inflows and outflows of that account over time. We have a balance of about 4.5 million in that account right now. We don't have any outstanding invoices to Metropolitan. I know we're working on one for June 30th, but right now payments have been pretty minimal. Once we get into these last 2 construction packages, the payments will ramp up quite a bit each month. So doing a good job there. And the last slide is held for other updates, but we don't have any at this time. So that concludes the monthly update, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
There's a board order we need, is there not?
On the next item, yeah, I've got a couple more slides on the easement.
Okay.
That would be the board.
I've got one question.
Sure.
On all that, wells and pump supplies and everything, should we have already went out to bid? Maybe early on to buy some of that, so it's not seems like everything's going up.
Yeah.
I wonder if we would have got a better deal back when I know we can't sit on that stuff that long, but.
If we had purchased some of the equipment ahead of time?
Back when, we did those, all of them individual, packages of well drilling,
Mhm.
the Bakersfield well.
Mhm.
So I was thinking maybe back.
Oh, if we had equipped all those wells at that time?
Maybe not
Or just purchased the equipment.
Bought the supplies at that time and then had them sitting tight for us, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe
we-
John might know something maybe to think about on this next project that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
No,
I know some of the consulting team is online, and I think we did talk about pre-procurement of equipment for some of these packages. The agency takes on some risk
yeah.
when we pre-purchase materials like that. And then they typically have, some type of warranty lifespan on that equipment as well, right? So if we're just sitting on them and they're not gonna be installed for several years, I think we lose out on that benefit. So it was something that was discussed with the engineering team, but wasn't recommended ultimately.
Justin, this is Paul Chow from KJ. Just to add to that, Justin is completely correct in that there's definitely risks involved with pre-purchasing equipment like that. In addition, for this project in particular, there were still some questions up in the air, especially right now. Justin mentioned the water quality discussions that were had with Metropolitan. There were some potential impacts depending on which way Metropolitan was leaning on the pump sizing, pump design itself, if Metropolitan had decided to go in a particular way. So there were also some design uncertainties that needed to play out over the recent time period.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Any other questions, or we can move on to the action item for tonight?
I had one, question. When we start equipping the wells, if funding becomes a problem, can we do something less than the full number of wells to equip?
I mean, I think we certainly could equip fewer of the wells. I think that'd be a conversation we need to have with Metropolitan Water District if that becomes, a constraint. So within our project agreement with Metropolitan, if there are cost overruns that exceed what Metropolitan's willing to spend on the project, they do have the option of downsizing the project for lesser, recharge or recovery capacity. And that was a discussion that was had previously when we saw the inflation, kind of go through the roof, and they had to go back to their board to get the additional 80 million. And that was a decision at that point in time as well. But yeah, if that's the case, we can certainly have that conversation. One option, if that came up, could be that, another partner comes in and pays that additional cost and takes over that percentage capacity of the project as well. So.
Okay, thank you. Moving on.
All right. So if we're ready, Director Dias, if we're ready to move on to 8B2.
Yes, we're ready. Thank you.
All right. So this is consideration possible action on a power line easement for Southern California Edison on 2 parcels owned by AVEK within the boundaries of the High Desert Water Bank site. I just have one slide here. This is a map of the site. And so during construction of the recharge basins in this vicinity up here, there was an existing Southern California Edison pole line that was fed from the south on the east side of the site, and then traverse the site from east to west, and provided power to Tejon Ranch as well. They call well number 203. Those power poles were all removed during construction of these basins because they conflicted with that construction. And so we needed to reroute that power, work with Edison to reroute that power and provide a new service to Tejon Ranch. So working with Edison, and you might remember this discussion from a few months ago when we authorized the payment for the construction of these power poles. Edison designed a new service that comes off an existing pole line that comes in from the west and crosses the aqueduct. And they'll bring that service from an existing pole there, parallel to the aqueduct on AVEK owned property, and then due north to Tejon Ranch's property and the well there. So we've already paid them for the construction of those facilities. They do require a perpetual easement for ongoing access, maintenance, future replacement, et cetera, of that power line. And that easement is about 3,200 feet in total. It crosses 2 parcels owned by AVEK, and then of course onto the property owned by Tejon Ranch. Tejon Ranch has already executed their easement to SCE for this same service. And so we're looking to do the same tonight, but 10-foot wide, centered around the pole line, and 3,200 feet in total. As I mentioned, this is a perpetual easement for the lifetime of that pole line in service. So, we committed to providing Tejon this new service when we took their existing poles out of service. So we need to get them back in power for that well. And so our recommendation and that of the committee, Holly, if you want to go to the next slide, would be to recommend that the board authorize execution of the power line easement for SCE on the 2 AVEK parcels out at High Desert Water Bank. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, we've been working on this for quite a while, so I'm
Yeah.
glad we're making progress.
Yep.
Is there any other questions, Justin? So motion would be in order.
I'll make that motion.
Director Van Dam, we have a motion.
I'll second. Van Dam.
Second, by Jay. If there's no further questions or comments, Madam Secretary.
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Is that
And that
committee report?
This is the committee report, Mr. President.
Yeah, thank you, Director Dias. We're moving on now to the executive committee. And Matt, I think we'll turn that over to you.
All right, thank you, President Lane. Good evening again, board members. So on page 29 of your packet is a brief staff report that outlines this item. We thought the timing would be good to give a presentation on advancing the next phase of the High Desert Water Bank. So we've put together this presentation that outlines what we see as the immediate next steps that we need to go through in order to advance the development of the next phase. We're getting a lot of interest from state water contractors, other parties that want to bank and store water with AVEK and in the Antelope Valley. So we thought because we're to a point where the High Desert Water Bank project as it stands now is advancing well, and we're going to get the final construction packages out to bid soon. And so we can use the next couple of years to do some planning for the next phase. So Justin and I are going to tag team this. Justin is going to start with kind of giving an overview of where we're currently at with High Desert Water Bank and touch on some of the key terms of our agreement with Metropolitan Water District. So take it away, Justin.
All right, thank you, Matt. Good evening again. I think we can move on to the next slide there. So yeah, status of the High Desert Water Bank. As you know, this was developed in partnership with the Metropolitan Water District. The store state water project supplies here in the Antelope Valley groundwater basin. Those first stages of recharge basins were operational beginning in 2023. And as we just discussed, the full operation of the project is anticipated to come in towards the end of 2028. The current project has the ability to recharge and recover up to 70,000 acre feet per year, a total storage capacity of 280,000 acre feet. And there's a one-time storage loss of 10% on the water that's recharged. The facilities that have been completed to date include the 250 cubic foot per second aqueduct turnout and turn in facility, the recharge basins, the bidirectional recharge and recovery pipelines. 20 of the 27 wells have been drilled, and we've successfully executed our water master storage agreement and groundwater modeling for the High Desert Water Bank. So what's left to be done? Drill 7 more wells for a total of 27. Equip all of those wells with pumps, motors, electrical instrumentation, the on-site electrical power distribution system, and the electrical substation and transmission line. And ultimately, some water quality strategy, like we just discussed, in the form, hopefully, of a treatment facility on site and the ability to pump back to the California aqueduct. Next slide, Holly. So getting into the key terms of AVEK's agreement with Metropolitan Water District on the High Desert Water Bank Phase 1. Metropolitan Water District receives first priority use of the bank. They also fund 100% of the capital costs and reimburses AVEK for all operation, maintenance, management, and replacement costs of the project. They have the ability to recover 90% of the water that they stored at the High Desert Water Bank. AVEK receives second priority use of the water bank, like we're using currently. We are the owner of 100% of the property and the facilities. We operate the facility, and in exchange, we receive $125 per acre foot recovery fee. That's in 2026 dollars, and that fee is escalated with CPI over time. We also receive a minimum payment of currently $2.49 million per year. That's also escalated annually, and that is triggered once the project becomes operational. Looking at a map of the project site and where we might envision phase 2 being located. The map on your screen, the blue shaded parcels are within the existing high desert water bank, and those blue shaded parcels are owned by AVEK. That totals approximately 1,300 acres. The yellow square to the north is Tejon Ranch's existing water banking operation that they have out there. And then the properties to the east of the high desert water bank, shaded in green, are properties that AVEK has already purchased. So that totals about 915 acres. The vast majority of that is there in Los Angeles County, where the southern edge of the yellow shaded box is. That's the LA County and Los Angeles County line. So you can see we do own a few parcels, 2 parcels there in Kern County as well. But as we're thinking about High Desert Water Bank Phase 2, it was kind of one of the drivers for picking up these parcels to the east there. And so that's sort of where we're envisioning potentially going with the expansion or the next phase of the High Desert Water Bank. And at that point, I'll turn it over to Matt, and he can talk about why now is a good time to move forward into thinking about Phase 2.
All right, thanks, Justin. Good job. So yeah, why do we feel that advancing the next phase is now is the appropriate time? So I mentioned there's growing interest from other partners. So we'd like to have a well-defined project with capacities and costs and how it would be operated before we enter into those negotiations with the partners. Another value to the agency would be increasing the agency's first priority capacity to meet our customers' needs. You know, that as Justin mentioned, the terms of the current phase of the High Desert Water Bank, all of the capacity AVEK has is second priority. So in those critical dry years or really wet years, when we would want to utilize water bank, most likely Metropolitan is going to use their first priority capacity. So I see Phase 2 as an opportunity to negotiate a term where AVEK is getting some first priority capacity in the project. Another value to the agency is increasing revenue from outside the agency. So other agencies that participate in this water bank would bring revenue to the valley and offset costs for AVEK's customers and taxpayers. Also, a side benefit, all banking does assist in keeping the groundwater basin in balance by leaving behind 10% to cover evaporation, but a small portion of that 10% does go to the benefit of the basin. And long-term, we'll see that value to the health of the groundwater basin. So we see 5 initial tasks will help AVEK assign or assist in defining the next phase of the water bank. So you can see the 5 tasks listed there. All projects that AVEK undertakes needs to go through a CEQA review process. So that's a key task, and that is required for environmental clearance. We know we're gonna have to do some groundwater modeling to help define capacities of how much we can recharge, recover, and store in the bank. It's also a requirement to go through with the water master application for a storage agreement. So we know we're gonna have to do that task, so it'd be wise to get started earlier than later. We know we're gonna have to do a conceptual design, not full-blown detailed design, but a high-level conceptual design to look at infrastructure layout and sizing the facilities, such as the pipes, pumps, motors, turnouts, etc. And a lot of those tasks identified under the conceptual design will inform the CEQA review process. Also, we envision the early tasks should be coming up with a preliminary cost estimate, because that will be key to negotiating with our project partners and negotiating those key terms that AVEK is looking for. And then lastly, property identification. Justin showed a map that shows all the property we currently own. But as we get into this, we'll identify other properties and gaps in property that we don't own so that we can initiate the acquisition process. So we envision these 5 tasks would be funded solely by AVEK. We're not looking at this time to enter into any partner agreements with outside agencies. We think it's wise for AVEK to fund these tasks, provide the studies that will help assist in negotiating terms that we're looking for with project partners. We know there's plenty of interest with outside agencies to bank with AVEK, so I don't think there's any risk there. And I think it's wise that we just proceed with contracting on our own and go from there. Next slide. So kind of a schedule to cover these 5 tasks. You can see through the end of next year, we think we can complete all 5 of these tasks. The longest or critical path item will be the CEQA review, but we need to do some groundwater modeling, conceptual design, and identify the area before we finalize CEQA and get that out for public review. So you can see the estimated timelines that we have for each of the 5 tasks. First one, probably be to identify the project boundaries under property identification, and then start contracting for conceptual design and groundwater modeling. Next slide. So next steps, if the board is supportive, we would like kind of a head nod from the board that staff can begin selecting our consulting team or going out with RFPs and bringing back those proposals, schedules, and scopes of work for the board consideration. Also initiate CEQA scoping and the groundwater model update, and begin property screening and identify parcels to acquire. So that's all we have on our presentation tonight. Happy to answer any questions.
And the executive committee did recommend this.
Yes, thank you.
It's very detailed very detailed presentation.
All right.
I had a couple questions. Now on that water bank, that's gonna be High Desert Water Bank number 2, correct?
Yeah, we haven't formally called it that, but that's kind of logical.
Start that way.
Start that way.
And of that water bank, we have accumulated already or purchased 900 acres?
For the second phase? Yeah,
Phase 2.
correct. Roughly 900 acres.
So I want to give you and AVEK credit for that because we've already headed in the right direction. On Metropolitan, if they have the first right at that on their quality or their testing for that lab, would they be able to do 2 labs there or one lab for the testing of the of that water? So because remember they had that quality issue, or they're gonna, for High Desert number 1, they're gonna put in
a treatment facility?
treatment.
Yeah, so we haven't started on the design of the treatment facility necessary for phase 1. But one thing the design team is going to look at once they get into detailed design of the treatment facility is to ensure there's enough capacity for a second phase.
Okay. So I was just thinking it'd probably save them a lot of money if they knew that they were gonna be the driver on bank number 2.
Yeah.
So, and then don't we take possession of that in 2040, the total?
For High Desert Water Bank phase 1?
Yeah.
So it's a 20-year term with a 20-year extension.
Yeah, I think it's 2057, right?
2057 is the year.
That's when AVEK owns it?
Yeah, I think that's what it is right now, yeah.
Yeah,
Yay.
assuming they don't, extend it beyond that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we're getting at 3 million, you would be getting right around 3 million with CPI.
Yeah, but right now it's 2.5 million minimum per year.
Okay.
But that's directly tied to how much water they pull out, because we get paid when they pull water out of the bank.
Okay.
That goes towards the minimum 2.5 million per year.
But to clarify, Matt, this has nothing to do at this point, Metropolitan Water Agency.
Correct.
And at some point, that may be confusing, that name right there.
Yeah.
If they,
Yeah, phase two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have its own name at some point.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. We could come up with what we want to call it officially to start off and then see where it goes with the partners. Metropolitan has indicated that they would like to have a good portion of phase two, but I think it's in AVEK's best interest to first define the project, define what we want out of it, and then negotiate terms with Met or whomever.
Well, if they do, then the phase two makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So I think at this point, we don't have an official board action or board order. We're looking for kind of a head nod from the directors that we proceed with the steps outlined by staff.
So I think, Matt, just to reiterate, if anybody wants to make a comment, and hopefully we're supportive of it. If we're not, now's the time to say something.
Yeah.
I definitely support it. I want to thank Matt and Justin for getting on board with it, 'cause this could be a lot of work.
Thank you, Gary.
I'm also supportive. This is Keith.
All right. Thanks, Keith.
Director Miller highly supports this. This is part of our long-range plan to have more water banking in the area. So I highly support.
Okay, Matt, go
All
for
right.
it. Go for it.
We're good. Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 8. Back to you, General Manager's report.
All right. We got a couple items. We're going to start with Tom Barnes giving a state water project update.
The aliens have landed. Good evening, Director Lane and members of the board. I'd like to give you a short update on water supply in California and conditions we see now. This is seen some of these graphs before. The graph on the left, top left there is Lake Oroville, where our water starts. And so currently we're going through a normal decline, summer decline in storage in Lake Oroville. It's nothing too dramatic. We're still sitting well above, about 37% above average for this time of year. So that's very good. Also too, down below, you'll see San Luis Reservoir, where we store our carryover, which we've gone through for this year, but we also continue to move water through San Luis Reservoir. Sitting pretty good there too as well. That's 37% above average, excuse me. It's a little bit lower than they had modeled originally at the start of the year, but we're staying pretty much on track where we're supposed to be for summer times. Okay. This shows San Luis Reservoir. It is a shared reservoir between the state and the federal government. So we do see the Bureau of Reclamation is in the light blue, and then the DWR share is in the darker blue. So we're continuing to see an increase actually in storage in San Luis. So that's good. Again, it's not quite as high as they expected, but and that's because they had some reduced exports coming down through the system from Lake Oroville to help protect against water quality in the Delta region. So we didn't see quite as much increase in storages that we had, the DWR had planned for coming through August here, but looking good still. The next one, I do want to give you an update on drought monitoring. As we started this year, January 1st, we were completely drought-free in California for the first time in 25 years. So now you can see we haven't sustained that. We've gone a little bit into drought, but we're still in really good shape as far as precipitation and where we're at. Some areas are just, maybe moderately drought areas. So nothing too bad though in our region in Eastern Kern and LA counties. Looking really good. As far as locally, our water supply and our usage, on the blue table there is our water supply, our sources, our standard carryover from 2025, as I mentioned, has been used up, mostly used up for this year, and so that 19,565. We still have a good chunk of table A, our 45% allocation, so we're over 65,000 acre feet there. So it gives us just under that 85,000 acre feet of total supply. The
the table there on the right is our estimated imported water use. With that 85,000 acre feet of total supply, our direct deliveries, our AVEK customers has gone down a little bit. We're at about 25,529 is what we're estimating. This is total deliveries for all of 2026. Transfer obligations, we have a few obligations to Own Ranch and to Palm Water District and also to Little Rock Creek. And so that will take about 3,352 acre feet of supply. Recharge amount is about 30,864 is what I'm estimating right now, and that would include the 15,000 that Justin had mentioned, additional recharge that we're planning for this year. So what that does, it gives us a good amount of water, 25,000 acre feet going into 2027. So we're in really good shape there. So that will really help us out if we do hit a dry year, as some are expecting. That's all I had, unless you have any questions.
I had one question. Are we up from last year on water sales or down on water sales?
We are probably a little bit down on water sales.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah,
And Tom, if I could just add, so that 25,000 shown on the screen, that's deliveries from the State Water Project.
Yeah.
That does not include what we've pumped from our water banks and supplied to our customers.
Right.
So I think total customer demand for 2026 is probably close to 35,000.
35?
Is that rough number?
About 33 and a half.
Yeah, is what we're estimating.
Because I thought we usually figure around 39,000 a year.
Yeah, we do. And some of that is added into the transfers. You also see the transfer obligations of 3352. That's on top of customer demands.
And then that water that's coming out of San Luis, is that the water that we're putting in the bank right now?
Basically, I mean, it's categorized as table A, but we're basically whatever table A we're using this year is going to reduce that 25,000 number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions from Tom? Good report, Tom.
Yeah, good report, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
And I've got just one slide. We've got the Antelope Valley State Water Contractors meeting scheduled for Thursday of this week. And that's Directors Dias and Van Dam represent us on that board. I think Mercy is the alternate. SNP Phase 2, we have the bid opening scheduled for Friday at 2 p.m. So pretty exciting day. So hopefully our engineer was correct on their estimate and we get close to that.
How many bids did we?
We don't know yet. We've had really good interest. What do you think, Justin? Handful, maybe 3 to 5 bids?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'd be really happy if we get 5, could get more. We had quite a few primary contractors at the pre-bid meeting, so.
Good.
Yeah.
It's looking good. So if you want to attend that, it's a public meeting, so it's at 2 p.m. on Friday. And then we got some water master meetings coming up next couple weeks. Advisory committee next week at 10 a.m. at Courts Hill and on Zoom, and then the board meeting the following week on the 26th at 10 a.m. and on Zoom. And that's all I have to report unless you have any questions.
Yeah, Matt, could you follow up with Kathy and make sure she's going to attend the State Water Contractors meeting, please?
Yeah, we could knock that off the list right now. She's on the line if she wants to chime in. If not, that's okay. Yeah, we'll follow up with her.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from Matt? Okay, moving on. Attorney's report.
No report tonight.
Request for future agenda items. Okay, we're gonna move on to, we do have closed sessions.
We do, yes. One item today.
Okay, motion to go into closed session would be in order.
So move.
You have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. No further discussion. Madam Secretary?
Who did the second? Was it you?
You're in.
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Ferris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Let's take a couple of minutes and we'll start our closed session.
Thank you.
Job, George.
getting it.
Recording stopped.